There we go.
Yes, it is. This morning it is.
So, good morning. Like you mentioned, my name is Louis. This is Ringo. We're here to just talk about the ASVAB program, see if anybody's interested in it. Does anybody know anything really about the ASVAB program or heard of it? So, what part of it have you heard? What it's
it
for?
helps people figure out what career they're gonna go into.
Okay. So someone talked to you about what we're gonna talk to you, because most of the time people think it's just to join the service, the military, to take the test to join it. That is one aspect of it. What we do is totally different. It's more of an occupational exploration type program. It helps you, look to see what jobs you could be interested in or what you're currently interested in, what you need to do to get to the point where you need to be to get into that job. So the test itself is a basic test. It has 9 parts on the computer, 8 parts if you did paper and pencil. We push the computer one because it's quicker, it's self-paced, and we get the results back quicker and come back out to explain to you. And then you get access to this website, which does the exploration for you. First part of the test is basic ACT, SAT type questions, science, arithmetic, reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and math. So those 5 parts, when you take them, it's sort of like the ACT, SAT. So it sort of gives you an idea of, hey, this is where I'm at my point of my education. So if I go take the ACT, SAT, I can see the areas what I might have to study before I do that. The last 4 parts are more stuff you learn. It's more technical stuff. So like electronics, automotive and shop, and then like engineering stuff. So the main goal for the test isn't a pass-fail, it's a strength-weakness. It pretty much says, hey, I'm better at math than I am in science, or vice versa. So once you do take the test, if you take the test, once you take the test, we'll give you a score sheet, and then it'll explain that stuff to you. On that score sheet, it will give you access to this website. So this website here is just basically a search engine, but for occupations, for colleges, stuff like that. So, any questions about the ASVAB itself? It's just a basic test. It takes about an hour to 2 hours if anybody decided to take it. But if we go on to this website, just the basics.
Can you work the mouse for us, Brian?
So right here where it says sample strengths, right next to it says test results. If I click that, it's just gonna populate the numbers off of my test. So here, it just grade, gender, test date, we can scroll down, and then it's just gonna give you a graph of your scores. Obviously, this is an example of what they put in the system for us. And in all these areas it goes over. So verbal skills, math skills, science and technology. These are the parts of the test: general science, arithmetic, reasoning, word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, and math. Like I mentioned, those are like your 5 basic ACT, SAT type questions. And then below that you got electronics information, auto and shop information, and mechanical comprehension. Those are more technical skills. So once you get those scores, it populates and then it gives you the military entrance score. Like I said, this test is used for people to join the military, so it would give you an idea of if you had an interest in the military, where you were standing. We can scroll back to the top. We go ahead and hit the learn right here. Bring us back to that main page. So, I'm sorry for your way, but these test booklets, it's just showing your strengths, verbal skills, math skills, and science. 3, 2, 1. Obviously, this is 50-50-50 across the board, so that's why there's 2 booklets there. But if you took the test, it would show you one of those areas would have 3 books, meaning that's your strength. That's your strongest area of your education right now, either verbal, math, or science. And then the next one would be 2, and the last one would be 1. To the right, my top interest. So you'll go in, you'll take a 90-question survey. If you I like art class. Either you like it, you dislike it, or you don't have no interest. You'll fill that out, and then it'll populate these 3 interest codes. If I hit my top interest over to where the FYI results, it will populate a page like this. So after I took it, these are my interests. The combined scores are pretty much scores across the board for everybody in the 11th grade that took this interest code. It shows my top 3 in the color code, but if you look at my 3 and my 4, they're pretty close, so that could be a possible interest too. These interest codes help you do your little search for occupation. To the right, I selected my gender, so it gives me specifically my interest codes based off 11th grade, based on this 11th grade females that took this interest code. So the interest codes help me to determine how to search occupations. If I scroll down, explanations of each interest code is right there. The learn more on anything is going to give you just a little bit more information. So if we click on one of those, it's just going to show us whole for realistic. It gives me the basic definitions of what a realistic is. And then below that, example of occupations that this type of interest code relates to. It just gives you an example there. So we hit OK, it's going to bring us back. Once you do your interest, once you have the test, all that information is in there. If we go to Explore, the tab to the left here, so here, it's just giving us a ability to search careers. So if we had any favorites and we marked them, they would naturally show up on this page every time. But if we go ahead and hit the Start Career Exploration, so this is the bulk of it. This is where we want to get to. So once you have your interest, if you're interested in, I believe this is like a public service, law enforcement type class, if we have an interest in that. So let's say we're in investigative, we just, click that, and then we don't have to hit nothing else. We can search with this. We hit Explore, and it's gonna populate different jobs with this interest code as one of the top 3. Obviously, you see the different titles in there, and you might not see exactly what you want right now, but you can see there's 116 careers with just that one interest code. If we put more interest codes, obviously it's gonna shrink our list. But just for the example, let's pick any one. We can pick any one of them just to give a layout of what these jobs. So once you click that specific occupation, say, hey, I'm interested in this. It's going to give you the name of the occupation up top and then some of the other names that are also called in that area of the field. The description of the job, obviously your job interest codes that fall within this job, and then the skill importance. That's the 3 books. If we scroll up to the top, you see your 3 books up there? That's where this job skill comes into play. So if my verbal is higher than my math, this could be a good job for me to go into. We can scroll down. Work values, what they do. This pretty much is bullets of what the job entails. So if you're interested in it, you can see. And then at this point, you might say, okay, that's not for me. And then you can go back. But over here on this right side, these are other jobs related to that field. It just gives you other related careers. So if you picked public services and then you came here, it could be more jobs specifically to what you're looking for. So as we go down on this side, how to get there. It shows the education level. I'm not saying you have to have this, but it just shows you in that career field, this is the education level that these current people in this career field are at. So obviously if you start at a post-secondary certificate and go all down to the doctorate training and whatever, that's probably based on entry level and supervisor. So the majority of the people are down with master's, higher degrees, but not saying you can't get in that field, but it just means if you want to advance, you're gonna have to get more education. So if we hit college info, on that site, it's gonna bring us to a page, same job, but it's gonna tell us all the colleges that offer this degree. So if we select search by state, and you can pick Iowa, and it's gonna show the colleges in Iowa that offer a degree in this field. So if you're looking for something specifically and don't know what college you wanna go to, you can search it by this, look at the college, say, okay, now I see the college I want. If you click on that college, any college you can click on, it's gonna give you a layout, tuition, what degrees they offer in this field, other degrees and majors they offer at that college, the number of people that are in the school, average number of attendance, how many people come back from one year to the next. After their first year there, they come back the next year, so 88% pretty much come back. Scrolls down and shows the SAT scores of the average people that come to that school. It had, up towards the top, it had in-state, out-of-state tuition. Everybody knows about that. When you apply for college,
How many
in-state.
seniors is in here? Do we have any seniors? Juniors?
And the rest are sophomores.
Could
Yeah.
you, does this also show the associate, like SEC, the community colleges, or just?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So any college that offers a degree in this field.
Can you back up one then, Brian, and go to SEC, see if it's on there? That's our local college here.
You probably have to select the state again. When you went back, it probably selected all the ones.
Yeah. This is the important stuff right here that when you're going to college, like everybody's talking about when you get student loans and stuff like that, like the career field that you're going into, how much money you have to pay to get in that career field, and it's gonna be worth your time to do that.
It doesn't show SEC on this one.
And the reason it might not show it is because they might not offer a degree in this field. That'd be the only
Yeah.
difference, but they do have community colleges in other.
There's Indian Hills.
That's the same one.
Yeah.
So now look at this, it's only 57% that come back from one fall to the next. Now that could be just that they moved on to a university. They did the first 1 year there and they moved on to another college or whatever, got some of their basic classes out of the way, decided they wanted to go to a actual college that offered a degree that they're interested in. That's not a bad sign, it just shows you how many people go there from one fall to the next. If we scroll down, we can scroll down to the bottom. They have the website specifically for that college too. So we recommend anytime you go and you see a college, go to their website, get more of the updated information, because this site only updates so often, but it gives you the access to get to the points where you need to be. If we want to scroll up and go back one, we can actually hit the explore again, here, start the exploration. So if we wanted to select more, you can select 1, 2, or 3, but you just have to select in the secondary box there. And then the third. And then if you had like verbal skills or math skills that were stronger, you can select that. All it's gonna do is shrink your search down. And then sometimes if you don't find what you're looking for, up on the right, there's a search box. You can search and put in a keyword there. You can put public safety or something and see what comes up for that. And then I would uncheck some of the boxes because it's probably looking for these characteristics over here. Just uncheck 3 and 2. You can even uncheck 1 to see if anything. Okay, so if we clicked on that, so this is going to bring up this, but like I said, let's say that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for something else. You can look on the related side over here, related careers, and you might find something over there.
So this is one that, Brian, you were talking about, you were trying to get entered in next. Can you go up? So he's trying to get this in his class in.
Okay.
And because there's an advantage of a dispatcher coming out of high, you can go right into it from high school then.
So yeah, you see right there, the also called 911 dispatcher, communications officer, communication operator. Basic information about this occupation if you're interested in it. So this website is just giving you tools to search for interests that you might be in. So if you did like this, if you did think this was something you wanted to keep up at the top where it says add to favorites, if you click that plus sign, it's gonna always be on your exploration tab. Anytime you hit that exploration tab, instead of searching for it, it's gonna be on that main page for you so you can always come back to it. And it's showing verbal skills are stronger than the math and technical skills, science and technical skills. But for the most part, it's here to give you a tool to help you search for something after high school, to give you an option to use. Obviously, we offer this for free. The book that we give you is just explanation of the whole program. And the sample questions in the back is type of questions that are on the test. So if you looked at those and say, oh, this isn't bad, that's pretty much the same concept of questions you're gonna have. Any questions on this page or anything on this? Anybody got anything they wanna look at again? An additional thing that they have in this is a planner, just like any normal planner, but in this system itself. So if you add something to your favorites and then you want to make plans for certain dates, or I got to have my financial assistance or grant paperwork submitted, you can put that on there and It'll give you reminders of, hey, this date is coming up. When each semester's registration is due. You can type your own notes in this. It's pretty much a personal planner specifically for you, specifically for this site. This is one area that isn't used as much as the exploration part of it because everybody's looking for jobs. They're looking for some interest. But the key thing about this is just reminders, and you can add stuff specifically to your specific career searches that you wanted. So if you did want to do something public safety, you can add information on that. Any questions? Any?
How many, I mean, we're all in here for the career field of public safety. I'm just curious, like, how many's going and thinking about law enforcement? Can you raise your hands when you see them in this form? What are you thinking? I mean, while you're in class, right?
Easy credit.
Easy credit, all right?
That's what you were told?
Yeah, I mean, but you gotta be thinking, I know you guys, you're just in high school, and it seems like eternity out there right now before you graduate, but it's gonna happen real fast, faster than you can imagine. I graduated here in 1979, and when Lewis and I joined the military, this didn't even exist. And what happened when we joined, we were talking about coming in, when I joined, I knew I was gonna join the military because my family didn't have the money to go to college, and that's where everybody was just starting to get into. At that time, it was a big deal even get an associate's degree in 79, you know. And so anyhow, I went down, I drove with the recruiter all the way to Des Moines, stayed the night in a motel, got up real early the next morning, and I mean early. And then you go in there and you eat your breakfast and you take the test. And at that time it was a 3-hour test, which they still have. It's the written test, not the computerized. It was a written test, and it seemed like it dragged on forever. And that test was only used for the military. But now it's a different. When I retired just recently, and I started working with MEPS in Des Moines, and in doing the ASVAB, I realized this is something different, completely different now from just the military. This is something that we all, your parents and we all pay our taxes for, to give this test, where people on the that are adults, when they want to take a test now like that, they're paying a lot of money to take a test to see what type of career field you might be interested in. And the greatest thing about this test is that we get to talk about it, and you guys, that you can take advantage of this. So you may not even think, like you said, you're in here for an easy credit, but do you really know what you really want to do when you graduate?
Yes.
All right, and so, like what?
I want to be a marine biologist. It's going to take like 10 years of college.
Okay, I'll use it.
If I go to SEC, it'll knock out 2 years and bring it down to like 8 years of college.
It's funny you bring up marine biologist. For some reason, has been like the key thing, right? Because I got a granddaughter who recently graduated, and that's what she wants to do, is a marine biologist, right? Well, you have to hook up with the aquarium, right? And there's not a lot of aquariums around here, so your job locations is narrow. So you got to really make sure you get in the area. Now, Florida, probably, and California is probably the two most popular spots,
California,
right?
where I was born, South Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. And so she is looking down at Florida. Well, she just found out they've lowered some standards down there where you can do on-the-job training, because it used to be just like you said. But she's also looking like how much it's going to cost to go to do this versus what the payout is, right?
Right.
So what's that got to do with the ASVAB test? Well, you may have strengths in other fields that you're not even aware of. So, but taking the test, which is, you don't have to join the military, you take the test and you find out things that maybe didn't even interest you, but you have a very strong area in that, strong, knowledge of certain areas that you didn't think you had, which may be a different career field you didn't even think about choosing as an alternate in case this one doesn't work out for you, right? Not saying that it's not, but I'm saying just in case. And then you're gonna find out maybe it doesn't cost as much to do that career field, and your rewards financially is a lot more than you thought would be. So that's what's so important in taking this test. Even if you don't, you may use it, it's up to 2 years you can be in this program. After you take the test, this is available to you for 2 years to monitor yourself. and set up your career field. Guys, gals, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not as easy, it wasn't easy when I came out in '79, but it's even more difficult for you now than it is. You gotta start preparing yourself. Your high school years is preparing yourself. Mr. Carver is in here helping you choose, preparing yourself for if you wanted to get into public safety, what you gotta do. He's beating down a lot of doors for you already by letting you know what's going on. And that's what Luis is trying to show you here on the ASVAB test. So anyhow, when going back to the '79 time, you took the test. I don't think I did as good as I could have. They've been under different conditions, but now you can take the test on a computer, which you're all familiar with, a lot more comfortable than we are by far. And the average time span now for a student to take the test is about an hour to an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe at the max. There is some students that do up to 3 hours, some because they take their time really slow, and some want to get every question right. I've had that happen too. And what's so great about it is when we're saying self-paced, the old test was like this. You take the written test, you give them 15 minutes to do one portion of the test, you get it done in 10, you have to put your pencil down, close the book, and you got to wait for the rest of the students to catch up. All right? You sort of lose your train of thought, don't you? Where the computerized test, you just go from one section, it takes about 10 minutes to set up normally, you read about 10, 15 minutes. You get set up, you take the test, and once you're into the computerized test, you're all self-paced. You don't have to wait on anybody. And once you get done with your test, then you can get up and leave. So, did you hear about it from a recruiter? Is that?
I think so, yeah.
You think so? It's still, you had enough knowledge. That's what the ASVAB test is all about, is to help you guys. And it really is. Completely different than we did. You felt obligated, didn't we? You went up there, you took it, and that's what the thing was. But now it's completely different. And you can take advantage of something. Don't you agree that if you want to explore, you should use every tool available to you, if it's not a cost to you, to make yourself better, to apply for jobs. Just like sports, right? You do certain things. Anybody involved in sports in here? Nobody? Yep. You got to prepare, right? Right? You got to prepare yourself, make yourself better. The same thing. You're competing against other students and other crew across the country for certain jobs. Like you were talking about the marine biologist. There's a lot of people competing for that job, so you got to make sure that you make yourself marketable, right? You got to make sure that you're out there and everything you can do, and at minimum cost to you. Just the biggest cost here would probably be your time. You agree?
And you're here already.
Yeah.
You already have to be here at the class, so if they get it set up at the school, it's obviously for that hour you'll be taking it. We do offer it like different days too, so we could come in one day, test during a class session, and then come back next week the same day and finish up. So it don't all have to be done in one setting, it just has to be done in 30 days. So after 30 days, it will expire, and then whatever you completed will score you. So once you log in, no matter how much of the test you finished, one part or all 9 parts, you'll have access to this site. It's pretty much done right when you log in, hit start, and it goes into the test. It gives you a registration code. So even if we came here for one day, tested, and then when we finished, we ended all the tests where you were at, no matter what your scores were, you would have access to this site. So like I said, it isn't a pass-fail, it's a strength and weakness. So especially like you guys play sports, you always want to know if you're getting better or worse. This will show you, hey, this is where I'm at. And you could take this test again, for the sophomores, you can take it your senior year, your junior year. You can take it every year, you can take it every 6 months. There's no limit on when we give the test to you guys here at the schools. So you can always say, hey, I took it as a sophomore, I want to take it again to see where I'm at. And you'll see the difference if you're getting to where you want to be. Free. It's a tool to help you, especially if you don't know what you're going to do when you become, you graduate. It gives you a direction to go into. Or if you have a direction and your education is not there yet, it also can help you build that path to get you to where you want to be.
Can we go back to where the strength of you going to marine biology? Not trying to pick on you, just it's an interest field too because of my granddaughter, right? And that's what she's wanting to do. Can we go back to something to,
Which one you wanna see the?
so let's say if somebody wants to go to marine biology, California College.
Oh,
Have you thought about what college
You
maybe?
can scroll down,
Not yet.
right here, the college info.
Yeah.
So this is a biologist, so in a sense, and then if you search by state, you don't have to stay in Iowa. Only thing that's gonna be different is that you're gonna have to look at in-state and out-of-state. Obviously, out-of-state's always gonna be more, but those are just examples, and then obviously we said the type of degrees that they offer on the side. So if you only need, this is a hint, if you need a bachelor's degree and you wanna go to Iowa, and it's costing you 10 times more than the local college, you can go to local college and get your general studies out of the way, 4-year degree that you wanna go into, and make sure those credits transfer over to Iowa. So you're saving money and getting the same education and finishing where you're gonna be anyway. So you can look into that too with this.
We had one person back here was involved, it was law enforcement. Have you thought what college you thought about going to, or had any idea at all? SEC? Maybe?
SEC's a great start, because
Yeah.
like you're saying, you wipe out all your basics for half the price.
Yeah, yeah, and you could, SEC right now, you could, I'm sure you got the program here too, where you can go to the college where you're still in high school.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anybody doing that?
Thinking about doing that?
I'm
Yeah.
thinking about doing that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll use an example again. Just so that, I just fall in that category because I got a grandson who's a sophomore in MEPO. So he's taking a college course right now, and he let his dad know about it too, meaning like, I just saved $1,600. That's how much that course would have cost, you know, and he's a sophomore. Now he did take, so this is his third class, because he took one between his freshman and a sophomore during the summer, and it was well over $1,000 for that course. So if you start adding this up, think about it. How are you gonna pay for it, right?
If you take those college courses in high school, the high school pays for it. It doesn't have to come out of your pocket.
Right. And then this, how's the ASVAB relate to that is, it can show you the strengths and maybe show you what courses to take maybe to where you wanna be at. And again, this is free. The only thing you're sacrificing is your time. And it's not graded as what you're thinking, like a school grade, meaning it's not a pass or fail. This is for you. This is a tool for you to advance yourself. Nobody else, except for you. And then Brian can help, you know, after you take a test, we actually have somebody come down, like Lewis does the post-test interpretation for you. And then Brian can also use this to help guide you if you decide they can take this course again, right, when they continue on.
I've got an advanced course after this one, and then 2 other courses after the advanced one.
Yeah, and then that helps you go in that career field then. Do you see advantages at all, Brian, for like your students then, or?
Oh, see, I've actually contacted with, the jails and prisons around here, asked what they wanted me to train them on an advanced class, so if they graduate and they've got my class, they'll get put ahead of anybody else. I did that with dispatch too. So, I'm working on a lot of these agencies to figure out what they want trained on. So right out of high school, they can get hired.
I guess another question would be like, would anybody be willing to take the test? You know, it's not a commitment, but just thinking about taking the test.
They're already taking it.
You've already taken the ASVAB? When did you take it?
My sophomore year.
Okay, you're a junior this year, senior?
Junior.
So you can take the test again then,
She can if she wants to.
and you thinking about taking it then yourself?
I think this is a great tool, guys, something to take advantage of, I really do.
I know it's dry material when you think about it, how we explain it, it's sort of dry, right? You think, another test, right? Numbers, math, I hate math, you know, I hate mechanics. But again, you know, when people experience, they've gone through life a little bit, and they say, well, that didn't work out too good, you might want to try this avenue. This is a good avenue to do it, a good thing to try. It really is.
Guys, this falls right on the heels of what Paul Kay was talking about yesterday. He was in here talking about how you should try different fields you know, to see if you're interested in it, if it's something good before you waste a lot of money going to college for that thing.
Paul K was in there the other day? Okay. Well,
Remember
they got a
we
treat
talked
for
about
that, didn't they?
This is a good way to see if you're even gonna be interested in it. Before you go and invest all that time in studying and spend money on college, this gives you an idea of what you'd be good for.
And like we mentioned, it's not a pass-fail, so the scores really, in a sense, is not as important as, once you get access to the site, you can do that find your interest. You fill that out honestly, it's gonna tell you what, based on you answering those questions, what of the 6, if you go back up to the top, we'll hit the learn, to the tab to the left, and then FYI results, top right, yep. So these interest codes right here, if you honestly answer that, it's gonna show you your interest. You might not even know that you were interested in something else. You might be so focused on one thing. So if that don't work out for you, you had this, you could have already something backup plan. Or relate things together. So let's say you wanna be a marine biologist and then have that, you know, you got your major and your minor, whatever. You can have something you can fall back into with the same type of classes. So you're not going all the way back. You already did some of those classes to get to that point. And if it doesn't work out, then you have this other degree you can complete without spending more money to start over.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Did we didn't go far enough to be on the college where it shows after, like, the projection, what you make versus what the investment is?
Yeah. So you're saying like for the jobs?
Yeah, for the job.
So if we go to explore, we'll click start exploration, just hit the start career exploration. We'll just pick one thing, or you can even explore. We're just gonna pick a job. What we're gonna do is we're gonna just pick an occupation. Go ahead and hit explore. And just pick one of those, just any one of those.
Microbiologist.
And then we'll scroll down. You're gonna scroll down until you see the map. You'll see a map of the US right there. So this is showing you the entry-level salaries for those occupations. As you scroll over the states, it's giving you numbers. And it says this is based on the wages in 2022. And this is the entry salary. Just a little bit up above this, there's a tabs. If you, right there, you see the entry salary. Now you hit average salary. It's gonna give you average salary for each state.
$93,000.
Can we, Brian, can we back up and get into like a law enforcement, police officer?
Yeah, you can see if there's a public, probably have to go back one screen and put in public safety as your,
Alright, so I'll go back to explore.
yep. Start, explore, and then over to the right where it's there, you just type in, public safety law for, yeah, something to pop up.
It's only come up with communications. What if we have police officers? You think it'd come up like that?
It might come with a lawyer, or there's dispatchers, I just seen dispatchers.
Yeah, I saw, that was the only thing that came up.
You back up and just just put police in there and see what those 3 were. There was 3
There we go.
Yeah.
police detectives and first, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there you are, yeah.
and then you can scroll down to see the price, the entry level in that. And entry level salaries, average salaries. Just gives you an idea, so if you decide, hey, I wanna do this, where do I wanna end up? Or this is where I'm gonna end up, let me see what the salary is gonna be like. And then also you can base that off of cost of living and everything like that. There's a lot of things you can do with this site.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting because, you know, there's an age limit, right, Brian? And versus college or preparing yourself from, like, you don't have to have a degree to get in law enforcement, but you gotta have sharper skills in certain areas, verbal, math, believe it or not, you use those skills. And what the college does, though, helps you once you get into that career field, though, makes you competitive for other jobs later on, right? Is it like in a supervisor position, investigations, you know, even canine, things like that. Those career, and having a degree helps you in later on in your career field. And then later on, if maybe your ultimate goal is to be a police chief. That's very competitive. You have to have almost a master's now, I think, isn't it?
Masters in law also require the FBI Academy.
Yeah, the FBI Academy too, because, so this is interesting how it starts out. Go to Arkansas if you can, and you'll see the difference in the wages there. Yeah, and then you go, yeah, it goes up, and then,
4,000,
and then Iowa.
65,000.
Iowa's a good state. I mean, to be in for law enforcement. It's pro law enforcement. You get support from your communities.
Yes, you do.
And I speak that experience too. That's how I got to meet Brian, was working in law enforcement too. And I retired from West Burnt. I was there for 20 years. You was in it almost 30, wasn't you?
28.
29. So that's why the law enforcement is a really, in our state, in our community, the support that we got is just incredible. And you got a great school resource officer here. Just many, you know, of course, the many when he first got in, but the salary and this, but that's where the ASVAB testing again helps you out. You need to do that towards that, what you need to do in that career field that you may want to select, or something else, you know. Does anybody got any questions for us? Anything at all? I mean, this is a great.
Do we get to keep these?
Yes. Yes, you can keep those. Also, I mean, it's we're offering this to you, so it's like, if I give you something for free, take advantage of it if you are really interested in it. Let your teacher know, and we'll come back. We'll have somebody come back and give you the test, and then myself we'll get a certified post-test interpreter to come down and explain pretty much what we walk through, but actually walk you through it with your computer, log you in, and get you set up so you can do it anytime. Thank you for having us, honestly. I do have some things up here, cell phone holders, Post-its, pens. If you want something, go ahead and feel free. On your way out, don't anybody attack right now. But I'm just saying, anytime you get offered something that's helpful, that can help you in life, you should take advantage of it.
I think free is a key word.
Yeah.
Free.
Yeah, I should have some questions around your papers if they did not answer, and you need to ask.
Yeah, if you have something that you need to fill out on that, I'll just clear something up for you too on that.
When the question they didn't answer is, spell it wrong. It's full.
Yeah, this website's available that if you want to scan it. I mean, you don't.
Yeah.
It's very available.
If you only want to use it just to see what your interests are, you can go in, do that. Once you get registered, you see what your interests are and then go from there. Or you want to just see what occupations they have in there and you want to do some research on that. Or just the college portion. Or you like
That's a
looking
big
at
one right
salary.
Just didn't know where to go to school for it.
Yeah. But maybe we had to hit just a little bit on, like, let's just say if you're going to take the test, right? What to expect. One thing is, if you do it in school, you're in a comfortable environment, right? Normally it starts about 8 to 9 o'clock in the morning. That's when most of the schools do it. Notre Dame tested 3 weeks ago, and we had, I think it was, close to 50 students. They tested juniors, and they use those test scores for their career development. The counselor does. But anyhow, what you do is you come in, you got your computer. Got to be about 100%, 60% is the lowest, you know. So you're comfortable with your computer. You're not using one that we're providing. You're comfortable with that. We provide the website you go to. Of course, we got to say some things verbatim. It takes about 10 minutes, and we're required by rules and regulations we have to say. Some of it's redundant. We repeat ourselves a little bit, bore you to death a little bit for about 10 minutes, and then you start your test. That's how hard it is. The only things we don't we say is that, like, all drinks have got to be on the ground. Can't eat during the test. Obviously, you can't talk. All electronic communications you have, like earbuds, watches that are, you know, online, stuff like that, all have to be off. All cell phones are off. And what this does is, you know, of course, you always have a possibility of cheating, which we don't even. I've never had any student yet. You've been doing a lot longer than me.
There's no advantage to cheating.
Yeah.
You're just cheating yourself because you're trying to, like I said, it's not a pass or fail.
Yep.
Either you know it or you don't. So if you don't know nothing about automotive shop, you're expecting that to be lower than what you think. It's not like you're going to go and say, oh, I failed this test. It's not like that.
And you can make an educated guess too
Yeah.
on stuff.
Yep.
You can work through it. So, meaning like, process of elimination. And then while you're doing that during the test, that's probably the hardest thing, was making sure your cell phone's off. And we have to actually verbally say that during the pre-test information. And that actually always informs me then to turn mine off too. And then for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, you'll have myself, the counselor normally, or the teacher. And normally we have a recruiter there. Also that assist us. And you may see us staring. It's not because we think somebody's a cheat. If you have a problem or a question, you raise your hand, we'll come over and assist you. And usually that takes a few seconds. And the biggest problem is that you may have lingered too much on one question and your screen goes red. And then we come over and correct the screen for you, and then you continue on. There's a little bit of a time limit. And probably the hardest thing other than that would be like, we try to go to the bathroom before you take the test so it doesn't interrupt you. But everybody, if you gotta go, you gotta go, right? And so we only can allow like one girl or one guy to go out of the room at a time, whether you go to the restroom and come back. And that is the big tough part of taking the test.
Any questions on your paper? Yes, sir?
How do we sign up to take the test?
You just talk to your teacher. You can put that down. You can talk to your teacher, student counselor, anybody that can get a hold of us and set something up. And be interested in taking it. Be interested in it. That's the first thing. That's a good way to take it. You show the interest and we'll come and make sure it happens for you.
That's really cool that they come here instead of you having to go there.
Yeah, it's a big, major changeover from, sort of shocked me when I got into doing this after I retired. It was like, wow, this is completely different ball game than it was when I went in, because you had to enlist and now you don't. And I'm gonna tell you what, when you're older, or anybody's working right now, you're paying taxes if you're even doing a part-time job while you're in school. Your taxes is going towards this, a portion of it, a little bit of it. So if it's free for you to do it, then take advantage of it. And I keep saying it, if it's free, because later on in life, let's say if you don't do something in your 20s and you need to take a test maybe, you may have to pay somebody to take a test that's similar to this one to find out your strengths so you can get a good job. And that's the goal, right? Everybody in here, whether what career field you do or a trade school, anything you do, you want to make that you're self-sufficient when you're older and you're not still living with your mother and father when you're in your 20s and you're in your 30s. You want to be out there making money, have your own car, have whatever, if you want to take trips, that you can afford to take trips and you're not going into debt. That's the goal, right? I mean, you think about it. Right now you're sort of coasting because you're in high school. But all of a sudden, when you graduate, it's a shock for a lot of people because they're thinking like even if they go to college, well, I'll just go get myself some scholarships and grants. It's not quite as easy, and if you do get scholarships and grants, it may not be to the amount of numerical number that you really need to go like to school full time. I was fortunate that when I was in the military, that's how I had to pay for my college education. The military did, but that's a different goal for me.
I screwed around my freshman and sophomore year, my grades sucked. So I had to really struggle my junior and senior year to get them up, and I was the median in my class, which means I had just as much people below me as I did behind me. So I did not get any scholarships, so I had to pay for all my own stuff. Let me tell you though, by me paying for it all, made me work harder, because that's now my money.
Yeah, you're right about that. And when you're spending your own money, get your own education.
That wakes you up a little bit.
And it's not always it's not always about the college for this. Trade schools gives you guidance what trade school you might be in, And a lot of the women may not think like, I'm not a really good mechanics or a carpenter. They find out when they take this test, actually you are pretty good in that. Because traditionally that wasn't, that field area. Not anymore, not anymore.
One thing I want to point out, I just saw this, it showed the average price of the colleges. So you may have thought you wanted to go to this one college, but like DMAC was like $5,000 cheaper. That might be a way to use this to look at just how much colleges cost when you could go get the same education for cheaper.
Hopefully we didn't bore you too much.
They have to listen to me every day, they're used to
Oh,
it.
yeah. But I didn't get into too many stories, old stories there.
What time is it?
All those questions asked?
8:50 when they go?
They can get to one, right, don't you?
Got about-
We get out at 9, but announcements start at 8:50.
Oh,
Oh, announcements started at 8:50?
No, they started at 9.
8:55.
We get out at
Sorry,
9:05.
Oh, wow, so we got
But the
time.
announcements hit,
Hmm.
are supposed to hit, so. Alright. Guys, if you have any more questions for us, let's give it up to it. You are going to be very happy with me, guys, tomorrow. Since originally it was a no school day, and because of the